Hey awesome people, it is Finn here, that is of course FYNN, and it has been a crazy Premier League so far. Of course we're not even halfway at the time of recording, we're not even done with match week 16, we are halfway through, so some teams have still only played 15 games, but wow, it has been unpredictable and I don't see it stopping here. I can just see it ending as a hectic Premier League season. And guys, this is going to be my updated Premier League table, because guys, it is shocking how bad it was in the beginning. Like, I want to do this for a living and apparently I can't predict for shit, to be 100% honest with you guys. But yeah, I did get this video idea from Visa, of course, big FIFA slash football YouTuber, and he did look at his Premier League predictions so far, and I wanted to do the same, and I wanted to update mine just so it can be a bit more realistic, and just because predictions are more fun if I'm correct for me, okay guys? But before that, I do want to say, trying to reach 300 subscribers by the end of the year, so can everyone just leave me one of those? Can everyone just maybe subscribe? Could you just share it? Could you please help me reach that goal by the end of this year? I'd love that and appreciate that endlessly. Let's get into it. Okay, so originally my bottom 5 of the Premier League predictions in my original one was Brighton, Sheffield, Norwich, Aston Villa, and of course Newcastle. Now of course I was pretty far off with most of them, but I mean Aston Villa and Norwich were pretty close, but the rest of them, wow, I could not have been more wrong. Like, I actually can't believe it. New bottom 5 of the list will be Watford, Southampton, Norwich, Burnley, and then Newcastle. I mean, look, I think Newcastle are going to end up where I originally did put them, but look, I just have to say in general, I mean, Watford, you have been dreadful. I mean, I hate to quote the words of my father, but I mean, wow, you have just been so disappointing lately.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
I really don't know what happened to Watford. I thought they had lots of promise. Of course, they got to the final of, I think it was their FA Cup last season. And I mean, I thought they really showed some sort of potential, Watford, but they've dropped heavily. And wow, they're just going through managers like you cannot believe. I mean, it's probably the slowest they've ever gone through managers. I mean, only 3 by the end of the season, by halfway through the season. I mean, you probably expect them to go through like 6 by halfway through the season. But yeah, in the second last position, I do have Southampton. And remember the time Shea Adams thought, you know what, I think we can compete for the Premier League title this season. Apparently that's a nope from them. And of course, Southampton, you guys have been dreadful. I thought with your new manager, you guys would have lots of potential and do super well, but you guys have been awful and you will forever be known as a team who lost like 9-0 to Leicester. I mean, you guys really just, I can only see you go down and I'm sorry. Okay, and the last one in the relegation position is Norwich. Of course, haven't been the most promising team as of late, but look, they have moments where they look absolutely brilliant, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's enough to keep them up in the Premier League. And it's very sad to say because I really like Norwich, but I don't think they have enough to stay up, sadly. And yeah, I do wish them luck if they do get relegated. But if not, I do really like their style of play and I'd love to see them stay in the Premier League. The two missing out on relegation, the first one is Burnley. Sadly, just not enough squad depth, and I'm very sure they are sad, and they don't mind saying it is the one that got away that season where they did end up 7th in the Premier League, and they probably
like, how did we drop so much?
And who would have thought the star player that made them drop so much without having him is Michael Keane when they gave him to Everton. Of course, that's probably just a coincidence, but I do have to say, Burnley, you guys, I think will drop quite a bit from where you currently are, but you know what, I think you're good enough to stay in the Premier League at the moment, but at the same time, I don't think you're good enough to keep up your current momentum. The last one in the bottom 5 is Newcastle. You guys are currently 11th, but there's small point gaps between like the bottom 10 of the Premier League at the moment, and I can't see Newcastle keeping up their momentum. Although their attack is good, they have very good midfield, I don't see enough quality in their defense, and I think they will concede unless they do get someone in the transfer window. Let's not forget that's right around the corner. Move on to the 15th to the 11th position, the next 5 in this Premier League, and of course my original predictions for that would have been from the 15th to the 11th is Burnley, Crystal Palace, Southampton, Watford, West Ham, which once again, I could not have been more wrong. Wow, my predictions, I just don't understand. I want to do this for a living. How could I be so far off? But yeah, in 15th position, I think it is going to end up as Brighton. I think they will drop from where they currently are, but originally I had them in the 20th position, which, I mean, they've done so well. Talking about getting a new manager, you say, well, maybe it could just be putting lipstick on a pig. They actually butchered the pig and bought something decent. I'm very, very proud of Brighton, and they're actually playing a good style of football, and they are looking very exciting as a team, and well done to Brighton for their current style of playing football. I think they're going to be pretty proud by the way they end the season, no matter how they end it. In the 16th position is going to be Villa. And you know what? Villa are currently where I said they would be in the Premier League. They are one above relegation. But you know what? I think they'll go up quite a bit because I think as a whole, Villa is looking very good. They've got a good back, they've got a good front, and I think Villa can do it. 13th position is going to be West Ham. Sadly, we've seen throughout the years, West Ham spent a lot of money for quality players, but they just don't show enough quality. I think West Ham are going to have a pretty disappointing season compared to what they would want for the kind of squad they have, for the kind of money they spend. But you know what? West Ham have done that for a few years now. I don't think they will get relegated, but at the same time, I don't see them making the top 10, so I have to put West Ham in the 13th position. Sheffield United, wow, you are shocking. I put you guys in the relegation zone originally, and you guys have just shocked me. I thought you would be Jared Leto, but you guys have turned out to be closer to Heath Ledger at times. I mean, Sheffield have gotten a handful of great performances. They are currently 9th in the Premier League, but I do think they'll drop quite a bit because I can't see them keeping up the momentum because they don't have the same squad depth with enough proper Premier League players in that team for them to keep up. I mean, they might prove me wrong. It is a possibility. As you've seen from my predictions, I have the ability to be wrong, but I can see Sheffield dropping quite a bit, but I think they'll end up in that 12th position, which I think they'll be more than happy enough to take. And the next position is Bournemouth. And you know what? I think Bournemouth, originally I had them in 9th, but I think they'll drop to 11th. Because, I mean, at times, Bournemouth can be the most meh team to ever meh. I think they can be very, very average at times. Their attack has potential to be great. Their defense, same. Midfield, same. But in general, it's a very meh Premier League team. As I said in my original predictions, they are probably the definition of mediocre. We move on to the 10th to the 7th position. I just want to name that before I get into the Europa and Champions League spots. My original one was Leicester, Bournemouth, Everton and Wolves. And wow, I seem to be very, very wrong with Leicester. I mean, I really thought without Maguire, Leicester would struggle harshly, and it has actually proven that Leicester won't actually struggle that much without Maguire. Who would have known? But I mean, Vardy is on fire, and I think he's going to be the Premier League top scorer by the end of the season. But my current new 10th to 7th position is going to be Palace in the 10th position. Of course, I thought they would struggle with Aaron Wan-Bissaka, and apparently I was proven wrong. And now, of course, there was that huge talk about Zaha moving to Arsenal, but I can't see Zaha downgrading to a team like Arsenal after this. But yeah, I see Palace, of course, they're doing very well. I think they'll drop a bit, but I think they can actually keep a top 10 position, which surprises me. In the 9th position is Everton. Of course, got rid of Marco Silva, but you know what? Absolutely battered Chelsea, and I'm very happy for them. But you know what? I think they are going to struggle, and I think they won't end up in that top 8 position because December's absolutely going to wreck them. I mean, look, No Nut November is right around the corner, but you know what? Ironically, they are going to get smashed this December because they've got all the big games coming. And you know what? I think Everton are going to struggle quite a bit this month, but at the end of the season, I think they can actually end up in that 9th position, which I think they'll be happy with that recovery considering they'll buy the relegation zone. Arsenal in the 8th position, that's where I'm going to put them. I know lots of Arsenal fans will boo me. I know I make fun of Arsenal a lot, but I really do see you guys struggling, and you guys are currently in the 10th position. You guys have dropped heavily. I can't see Freddie helping as a manager. I hope you guys get an actual manager, or don't, you know, that's fine with you guys. You guys choose that. But you know what, past just working with the current squad, I think any kind of tactics you have is just, well, as they say in my culture, milking a dead cow. In the 7th position before the top 6 is going to be Wolves. I mean, Wolves can prove as quite a hazard. No, I said a hazard. No, that hazard. Yes, exactly. Yeah, Wolves, I mean, I thought they were going down at a stage because they were only getting draws and they weren't picking up points. But Wolves, you know, once again, showing that they can be threatening. I think they will end up in the 7th position, just missing out on the top 6. Now, of course, we get into the actual top 6 of my original predictions. Started off with Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, Spurs, Liverpool, Manchester City. Now, of course, it's not too far off, but yet it's not too close at the same time, and I've changed my things drastically for this top 6. In the 6th position, I will put Spurs. They are currently in 6th at the time of recording, but I can't see them getting too much higher than that because I think there's way too many problems in that team. And the only other team I can really see them going above, which I could have said, is United. But I think United will end up higher than Spurs, just because it's my team, I can say that. But yeah, I see Spurs ending up in that 6th position. But considering they started off very horribly so far this season, and they still have Champions League football, which, by the way, that's why United didn't choose Champions League football. Why would we cause ourselves such a distraction? Yeah, because of Champions League football, I think it'll take away quite a lot from Spurs and lots of time, lots of fitness, and I don't think Spurs will break into the top 5. 5th position is Man United. I originally had them in 4th, but I think they'll drop to 5th position. I don't think they'll make a Champions League spot because there's not enough quality. I mean, they have times where they look like absolute crap, but then they have other times when they sprinkle glitz on it and it's pretty crap, you know. But yeah, they just beat Manchester City, looked very promising, but Man City have lots of problems they're working through. And I do have to say, Manchester United, if you guys lose Paul Pogba, which I definitely just seeing happening, I can't see Manchester United keep Paul Pogba. I think they could be in lots of trouble because that's a lot of depth. He's a high quality player, although they've played without him for a while now because of his injury. They definitely need a replacement for him in forms of an attacking midfielder or a solid defensive midfielder. I really do see them having to buy someone, and I think they'll struggle if they get rid of Pogba. I can't see them breaking into the top 4 anymore. I think they'll struggle quite a bit because of the players that are currently in the top 4, the teams. But at the end of the day, I do have to say Manchester United, I think you guys will end up in 5th. Break into the top 4, the Champions League spots. Manchester City, I think you guys will end up in 4th. I know I could get heavily booed for that. But you know, you guys have got injuries. Laporte is out for another 6 weeks. That's a heavy blow for you guys defensively. And because of that, because I saw United really picking at City's defense, I can't see City really holding their defense together. Because of their sloppy defense, I think they'll concede. And I think City will end up in 4th, which is a huge shame because they really went from being a dominant team to falling quite heavily. And I mean, let's be honest, Pep Guardiola's head is now brighter than City's future this season. 3rd place is going to be Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea, wow, talk about that girl from school who just really upgraded after school. I mean, they went from that ugly girl at school to like that absolutely beautiful one within minutes. I mean, we thought Chelsea would really struggle, but I think they're going to end up in 3rd this season. I think they're going to be very happy with their performance. They really have rock solid moments, but I do think because their transfer ban has been lifted and they can actually buy players once again this transfer window, and I think they are going to have to buy a solid defender, and once they have that, they're absolutely sorted. We get into the top 2, and I think it's no surprise. 2nd, I do have Leicester. I mean, Leicester, you guys have proven me so wrong. You're now 8 positions higher than what I thought. As I said, I don't know why I based everything off of Maguire leaving. But Leicester, you guys are in a very comfortable position. I think Vardy will be top scorer at the end of the season. I think Schmeichel will have the most clean sheets, and I think you guys will be beyond happy with your performance. Now, of course, sadly, that means I think the winners will be Liverpool, unless some team this transfer window just buys Sergio Ramos to break Salah's arm. Otherwise, I don't really see there being any other choice. But I do sadly have to say Liverpool have done it. But at the same time, I do like the Liverpool squad. There's no player I particularly hate in the team. I really do love the squad. It's a good team. I love Klopp. I think they're good managers. But you know what? If my rivals win, you know what? It will break me. But at the end of the day, there are worse Liverpool teams in the past that could have won that would have made me upset. But you know, guys, that is my updated Premier League table. Tell me what you think about that. Once again, guys, trying to reach 300 subscribers by the end of the year. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you enjoyed. Love every single one of you. Stay awesome. This has been Finn, FYNN. Cheers.